So Warner Brothers has revealed what games they are going to be focusing on, or more importantly what franchises of games they're going to be making, and this actually comes from the CEO of Warner Brothers himself, David Zaslav, who actually revealed all of these details in the latest earnings calls from Warner Brothers on November the 7th. I'm reading this from the Insider Gaming article, where David Zaslav actually said that the games business is substantially underperforming its potential after the $300 million loss that the studio took this year with the release of the live service Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League game, which heavily underperformed. And Zaslav says, "I think we're through some of the worst and it hasn't been pretty on the gaming business," Zaslav said during the call, "but we have 4 games that are really powerful and have a real constituency that love them, and we're going to focus on those 4 primarily. We're going to go away from trying to launch 10, 12, 15, 20 different games. I think we have a real chance now with focus to have the gaming business be steadier." He added, "We have 4 strong and profitable game franchises with loyal global fans: Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, and DC, in particular Batman. We are focusing our development efforts on those core franchises with proven studios to improve our success ratio." Now it still surprises me that he didn't mention Lord of the Rings, as the Lord of the Rings franchise is a huge franchise and a huge IP for Warner Brothers, but as a Game of Thrones fan, I am so happy that he did mention Game of Thrones, which means that the Warner Brothers games division, all their teams in their studios, at least one of them is heading a Game of Thrones project. And we know that currently Warner Brothers does have a Game of Thrones mobile games like Game of Thrones Conquest, and even a third-party studio like Nexon is working on a Game of Thrones MMORPG, which is rumored to be set in the north where the Starks live and have the wall part of the in-game map. However, this is a third-party studio, and we're talking about Warner Brothers Games internal studios who have made Game of Thrones Conquest, and maybe this is another mobile game, but I think with the success of Hogwarts Legacy and it being a huge AAA RPG game on consoles and PC, and with the other 3 franchises that David Zaslav have mentioned here all being console games, I'm pretty sure that he's kind of confirming that there is going to be a Game of Thrones console game coming very soon, and they are currently working on it since he has mentioned it amongst these 3 console games. And of course there is a loyal audience there, and it is in the same genre to Harry Potter, being more adult but having those fantasy elements like dragons, magic, castles, dungeons, and just like Harry Potter, how everyone wanted to explore Hogwarts, everybody wants to explore the land of Westeros and all the different kingdoms, and this has huge potential to become an open world RPG. And by the time this game will likely come out, it will likely be on the next Xbox and the PlayStation 6 consoles, which means it will have that next gen capability to be a game capable of being huge and technically impressive. Or I'm pretty sure a lot of people would even appreciate a smaller linear game similar to the size of the original Last of Us game or the Uncharted 1, 2 or 3, but having it be a rich, deep narrative story game. I think Game of Thrones fans are desperate to have a Game of Thrones console game that is a huge AAA title, and from what David Zaslav has said here, it seems like a Game of Thrones game is in the works for console and PC and is going to be a huge AAA title, likely to the same scale hopefully of Hogwarts Legacy 1, because to me personally I would absolutely love that, and I've always wanted an open world RPG Game of Thrones title to really just go in and explore that world in a different time period, so we can have some new fresh stories and have someone else on the Iron Throne, and maybe climb up the ranks like in Kingdom Come Deliverance, where you start off as a peasant and then become a knight, and having all the Game of Thrones politics and making decisions for a kingdom, or helping the king to make decisions for a kingdom, and fighting in his wars and riding dragons and killing dragons. There is just so much potential within the Game of Thrones universe, and I would also love this for the Lord of the Rings universe to have an open world RPG AAA experience. I would really like that for so many Warner Brothers franchises. I would even love a Matrix open world RPG game. But I also want to mention here that yes, Warner Brothers Games is also going to be working with other game developers to license out their franchises so they can make games based on Warner Brothers franchises. And of course, Warner Brothers will be profiting from the licensing agreements, and it means us fans will get a lot more games from the Warner Brothers franchise catalog. And again, we are already going to be getting an MMORPG Game of Thrones game, and according to Eurogamer.net, the untitled Game of Thrones MMORPG will initially be set in the north, home to the mostly heroic Stark family. Indeed, Winterfell and the Wall will be in-game locations, and it seems like Redanian Intelligence has said that this game is going to be published by Netmarble and is going to be a mobile game, but I wonder if it's going to be kind of like a Genshin Impact where it's a mobile game but it's on every other platform too, so it will be coming to PlayStation and Xbox and PC. I don't think we've got any of that information yet, but it seems like this game has has been in development for a while. I've seen articles about this game since 2022, so I wonder when exactly they have started development on this game. Redanian Intelligence also confirmed that the game will be set in the north and will feature Winterfell and the Wall. However, timeline wise, the story is set somewhere around Game of Thrones season 4 and 5. Roose Bolton is already Warden of the North, and Jon Snow with Sam Tarly are still on the Wall. Other kingdoms are possible as well, but we only heard of the North so far. The player will meet these and other characters during the game, but as far as we know, the original cast isn't returning to voice their characters, at least in the current iteration of the game. Instead, the game will have a new voice cast who will try to sound similar to the HBO actors. As far as we understand, the yet untitled game has a story campaign, but it's online. The player can choose between male and female protagonists, and the one that isn't chosen is still involved in the game somehow, like in Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, Redanian Intelligence couldn't get info on who the protagonist is exactly, but it is a new character and they'll be running around solving problems, typical fun MMORPG. We don't know when it will be out, maybe 2025, 2026, or maybe even later than that. However, game development does take a long time, so we'll have to be patient. So it is very exciting that we are going to be getting an MMORPG within the Game of Thrones universe, and I really do hope that this game does come to consoles as well. However, with what David Zaslav has said, again, I do think he's talking about a console game and not a mobile game, and I think they are going to be trying to target games similar to Hogwarts Legacy, since that was their biggest game that they released in 2023 and even 2024 and over the last couple of years, and it's globally well received, it's loved by fans, and people actually want more, including myself, and I'm sure a lot of you want more from Hogwarts Legacy, and that is exactly why they're going to be making the definitive edition of the game, likely dropping next year with 10 to 15 hours of additional DLC. And now that Warner Brothers Games isn't focusing on 10, 12, 15, 20 different types of games, and different games probably in the live service genre, David Zaslav has said now that gives them a chance to really focus on these 4 games and really hopefully make them the best that they can possibly be. Now, I'm pretty sure with the announcement of a Game of Thrones AAA RPG game, that will get a lot of people extremely excited. As we know, people absolutely love fantasy games. I love fantasy games, that's why I'm covering it on this channel. We love Skyrim, we're very excited about games like Crimson Desert, we absolutely adore The Witcher 3. So having a Game of Thrones game, hopefully to this scale, on this level, with this level of quality, AAA quality, and allowing the developers to really focus on this game without having these live service agendas being pushed down their throat. Hopefully, from what I understand by reading this, whatever internal team has made the pitch for a Game of Thrones title, and if they are actually making a console AAA Game of Thrones title, hopefully it can be that deep story narrative AAA RPG experience similar to what they did with Hogwarts Legacy. And yes, David Zaslav is saying all the right things here, and he even mentioned that I think we're through some of the worst. It hasn't been pretty on the gaming business, so he knows exactly what they've done wrong, exactly the formula that they've been using has been absolutely terrible, and the consequences of that was the $300 million loss they took in 2024 this year. And hopefully this is a brand new chapter within the Warner Brothers Games division, just as it's a brand new chapter within the DC universe, as this could be a fresh start and giving us more Mortal Kombat games, Hogwarts Legacy 2 and Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition, a brand new Batman game with a Wonder Woman game coming too, and of course a Game of Thrones title, whether it be an open world RPG, whether it be a smaller narrative experience. And on top of that, you have Warner Brothers Games licensing out their franchises to other game developers outside of Warner Brothers, which will in turn give us fans more games to play within the Warner Brothers catalog of IPs, which is amazing news, which is brilliant news. And I just really hope that they do right by this, and I hope we get a Game of Thrones game announcement soon. But guys, I've made a brand new channel covering superhero games called Balboa Mania Infinity, so I would absolutely love if you can help me get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel, and subscribe and show some love over there. That's going to be primarily focused for superhero games, and if you want to stay up to date with the Warner Brothers stuff here, subscribe. Let me know your opinions, please. I really want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to know your thoughts. Pitch me your Game of Thrones games that you want to see. I really love to read those pitches. And I also want to say thank you so much for 18.2k subscribers. I just started this channel last year in January, and we're almost at 20,000 subscribers. It's absolutely incredible, and you've allowed me to actually make a new channel, and I have some other things that I want to introduce and announce very soon, but I'm just kind of getting the ideas for that yet. So again, just thank you. Subscribe to Balboa Mania Infinity if you want to stay up to date with superhero news. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Peace out, God bless, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Take care, guys. Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
everybody in the world